play. We have to be so upset and angry that we take it out on the next team.
Against winless Houston, the 49ers were slow to burn. In a surprisingly tight game, San Francisco didn't secure a victory until there were 9 minutes left to play.
Here's Montana going back to pass. He's going to throw the ball deep down the field to Clark. And he caught it. Still goes. 35-30, 25-20. Clark got him down the 5. He goes into the end zone for a 49er touchdown.
It was Edward DeBartolo Jr. who got angry. The 49ers owner was furious about his team's listless performance.
Afterwards, Bill was giving his summation of the game, what we did wrong, what we need to build upon. By the time Eddie got down to the locker room, he comes in and I believe he interrupted Bill because he was pissed. And he felt that we played well below the standards of what we were accustomed to play. And he let us know. And I think Eddie's quote was, "You guys, that was an awful performance. You got to bring ass to get ass." Eddie was a very passionate person and very volatile. He would come in and let his presence be known sometimes and was quite effective.
Well, I'm trying to build a competitive playoff contender. I'm trying to build a winner. And I also, the main thing is I don't like to lose. That's it.
Because we...
So I was just going to put like the slides in here, but then I was like, I don't want to be in violation of anything either, so don't tell YouTube. But it's just so much better. Like, that's from the 1984 America's Game, and they're talking about Eddie DeBartolo Jr., who's like, you know, there's a lot of great owners now, but like he was arguably the first, like one of the best modern owners in sports culture, and you know, he really did put together a culture of excellence that a lot of teams talked about doing, and he was never satisfied. And you know, I'm not relating Eddie to Drew by any means, but I think of this quote like it's one of my favorite quotes. Like, you got to bring ass to get ass, and it's not anything from, you know, any kind of a, you know, sexual connotation. So don't take it as such, even though it's kind of funny if you think about it. But we don't allow humor on this video series, on this YouTube channel. Humor is not allowed. But I just think about that. Like, if you want to be good at something, if you want to be badass, if you want to be great, like, be great. Put in the work to be great. You know, the best way to phrase it in our current society is, if you want to be 100, you need to be 100. Like, if you want to get the result that you want, like, come correct. Like, be about it. Don't just say, oh, I want to do this, or JG, please help me, I want to be better. It's like, no, dude, like, respect the craft. Like, if you want to be good at this, put in the work. You know, if you want to be better, be better. And I just love that story, because when I think about DailyRoto, I think about how these guys are not satisfied. Their product continually gets better. There's no reason for them to improve upon it. Like, it would dominate and be one of the top in the industry year over year if they just stood on their laurels, but they don't. They're not satisfied. Even like mid-year, like, they're doing stuff this last basketball year. This is the best basketball season I've ever had, courtesy of DailyRoto. They are a big integral part of my process. And then, like, after the All-Star break, they implement something new that was even better, that I had no expectation for. And Mike was basically like, hey, this is this thing that, you know, I really like when it comes to baseball. We added it to as one of the features, and, you know, hope you guys like it. And it was like a game changer for me. And it was just like what we were talking about last week, like taking one idea and combining with other for like a super idea. Like, and these guys they have like everything. Like, they're practical, they're analytical, but they're also like thinking outside of the box to create new solutions. And I love it. So, you know, you want to talk about, you know, being 100 and wanting 100, being 100, like, these guys are 100 all of the time. Everything that they do is first class. Their chat, they have a Slack chat when you're a subscriber, and it's awesome. It's productive. You know, I don't really like being in chats, and some people are like, hey, are you going to start a chat? It's like, no, I don't really want to, because they devolve into just like a bitch and a moan fest. And it's like, dude, like, I don't, you know, I try to avoid negativity in all aspects of my life. Like, I hate it. I can't stand it. And the thing that's great about, like, because the culture starts at the top, like Drew and Mike have built such a great culture, like, that is reflected in its membership base. Like, if you're a knucklehead in chat, like, you will get self-policed by the people in there that want to keep the chat, as valuable as it is. So like you're in there, like we'll joke around and we'll tilt and that type of stuff is fun. But like if somebody's like super negative or like attacking somebody else, like that's not tolerated. And I love that. Like that's how you're going to, grow a good culture. And these guys get it. So, the other thing they do is, and they don't need to do this. This is the emails that they send out every single day. So this is the one about the slate, and they do one of these every single day. Even on the weekends, they may not have a full write-up, but they'll at least give you enough information to be dangerous. They send alerts. Like this is awesome. Like I have so many things going on during the evening, as most of you guys do: dinner, kids, wives, families, all that stuff. And then baseball, the news doesn't change as much as basketball, but there is some things, stories back to the lineup. There's some weather issues. This is the stuff I need help staying abreast with. Like this is the stuff that as DFS business owners, we need to outsource to great partners, and these guys do a great job of this. And this comes directly to my computer. I'm trying to stay abreast of all of the, I probably haven't used that word in 2 years, and I just used it twice in 5 seconds, so I apologize. I need to get a freaking thesaurus. But anyway, this is information I'm trying to stay up on myself, but in case something slips through the cracks or I get busy, like I'll get an email alert, like you guys saw one come through, like it pops up, I'm like building, like, oh, this game might get delayed. This game actually got postponed, but it wasn't, that big of a delay, but that's just going to happen. I don't want to go on a tangent, but these guys do an awesome job. Like they don't have to do this, and they do this. And there's some days like this is email alert number 3. Like I think I want to say like the highest I saw during NBA season was like evening update, like number 22, 24, 25, something like that. Like that's how insane like the NBA is. So you're in good hands either way. And they do this for football too if something changes for football. So just a first-rate organization. All the way, and I would consider them the gold standard. We've talked about a couple other sites, and they're great at what they do. I'm a big fan of the three sites that I use on a daily basis are Fantasy Cruncher, SaberSim, and DailyRoto, and those two are very good at what they do. But soup to nuts for a player that absolutely knows nothing, like these guys are the gold standard. Like they empower you so much as a player, and like I said, they never get comfortable. They're consistently pursuing excellence, trying to make their product better. The other thing that I like about, like, we were kind of talking about this with, what type of player do you want to be? Like, we don't want to be the screenshot season guys. Like, they'll share screenshots, but it's never like in a boastful manner, and they do it in a very self-depreciating way, and they don't do it that often, and it's really refreshing. But these guys are the real deal. Like, I know what the spreadsheet says about the contest that they play in. Like I saw the spreadsheet that's floating around, and I think Leon's won like 80 grand this year. Nobody knows that. The only reason I found that is because somebody who's a spreadsheet wizard sent me the results, and I happened to see his name on there, and he's crushing. Hasn't mentioned that once. That's awesome. Like that's the type of people I want to be associated with. That's the type of people I want to get my information with. Like being a humble winner, like nothing is like more impressive than that. Like a guy that knows he's good, but doesn't need to go around telling you how good he is. And like I'm in love with the culture that these guys have. Drew and Mike set the tone, and it's a true reflection in everything that they do. Personally, I feel it's a privilege to be a part of a winning team, and DailyRoto is that. And I think, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think that I can speak for a handful of people that would say this, that, they love being a part of their community, and they know that it's a privilege, and that helps qualify it as being special. And we want to see this continue, and we want to continue to get better and push each other and root each other on and pat each other on the back. And like nothing's better than like a night where like all of these guys put together just like killer content, and it dominates. And you see DailyRoto icons everywhere, and we're all in the chat just like high-fiving and clicking all the emoji like buttons, and just like it's a thing of beauty. And that's one of the things I'm trying to be different. Like there's so much jealousy in DFS, but there's none at in their culture. I mean, they're probably behind the scenes, some people are jealous or whatever. Like, yeah, there's times I'm like, that guy won, like I wish that was me, of course, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, for the most part, everybody there is very supportive, and losing's not acceptable. That is the connection that I will make between Eddie DeBartolo and Drew Dinkmeyer. There was a scenario where, and this happened, looking at my calendar, it happened last month during NBA playoffs, and it was just one of those things. The rotations were changing constantly, and number one, like DailyRoto did stuff for the NBA playoffs, and they didn't have to. That's not part of the agreement. That's not what your subscription is for. It's for the regular season, but they're like, no, like we're gonna for the most part, do about 90% of what we normally do. We're not going to do a daily article, but everything else, like, we're going to be doing. And they did it, including all of the late swaps. Anyways, a lot of the teams are adjusting their rotations, and the rotations change. It's going to be hard to nail the projections. And that's one of the things that's great about us as DailyRoto users. Like, we understand that. There's a reason we want Drew and his team building the NBA projections, because they can do a heck of a lot better job than us. So it would be very foolish of us to complain when things don't go well and overlook all of the times that things do go well, which goes back to our video series last week about recalling past victories when things aren't going well. Anyway, it's not going well, and there was a day when, like, I think Drew nailed projections in minutes to, like, within, like, 10%. Like, he killed it. And in the chat, we were just, like, so excited, and Drew's just like, guys, it's been a rough couple of weeks, so this one feels good. That's what I want from a content provider, like transparency and ownership of, hey, you know what? It means something to me about performing for you guys. When you guys feel like you're let down, like, I feel that, and I want to do better for you guys instead of like, I got your money, dude, F off, or let me block you on Twitter or whatever. Like, that's not them. And that's what I love about, their culture is one of the, if not the best thing that stands out. I mean, everything is great, but like, their culture is just so impressive because it's so different. And I've tried almost every single site, on the planet for DFS in some way, shape, or form. And the culture that they have is just absolutely killer. Yeah, so we covered everything. So we're going to stop here, and then we're going to dive into doing some of the site work of how to take advantage of the free preview every Tuesday.